Greetings. Thank you for joining us. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm gonna do a channeling of Jesus, but I'll think about that. I don't know, think I want to do that, but I've done it in the past. But I'm kind of just not interested in the whole religious energy. But this is more of interpretation of Jesus, of like my experiences with that energy. So I'm doing a channeled text of Jesus when he's not great, like a darker side of him. So, of course, others interpret it whatever you want to interpret it as. Either way, in the Archon mind, basically how the Archons go into the mind and do what they do. I might go too deep on that one, but we'll see. I guess I showed up. I'm about to sneeze. Wonder where that came from. Didn't like that. So funny. And Seraphim angels, just the light and the vibrations up. Yeah, so the Jesus energy. Well, first, I'm going to a slight update real quick. So I'm tired of comment prep sessions. We have the schedule, we have the shop. I'm in May somewhere. Same situation here. We have the webinar tomorrow. So, geez, the week just went by. Social network behind the scenes. And this is in the title. It shows that Atlantean. Actually, this should have been more titled around Atlantean energies, but I'll go into this in the future if I remember. So this is actually it's the Supreme Court of State in New York. I don't know how to pronounce that, poet, whatever. It's an appeals court. It looks like that. It's got all these statues around it, Illuminati stuff all over the place. They're not messing around there. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's it. And they have a top view. I might have showed this before. And that's like a portal there. I might have showed this in the past. It's been a while. That looks nice and peaceful, doesn't it? It's like they might call it an architectural wonder, but there's some other stuff going on with it. Out of all the buildings, and not that I looked at every single building in New York, but this one has a lot of shade around it. And I'm trying to get a better view of it. It's here somewhere. Anyway, all these structures around I think that's still New York. Either way, it's not a good vibration. So, yeah, lovely, right? Yeah, none of this is good. It's all Atlantean energies. Yeah, they're not hiding. They're right in our face, basically. And I don't know when like Black Lives Matters will figure that out, or anybody will figure this out, or nobody just cares. But that's it. Obviously Washington D.C. has a lot of joy around it, but either way, they're here, and I don't know if anybody knows what to do with these guys. I don't know. Nothing's being done right now. All right, so the Jesus energy, my interpretation of it, before I wasn't a Jesus person, I'm not, but where am I going with this? But when I had in 2011, I had my awakening. I went to a metaphysical church, and I talked to one of the reverends there. I think that was it. Yeah. You can become a reverend or something like that, but you have to go through all this college stuff, and I'm not interested in that. But either way, he did a reading on me, and one thing that came up was me knowing Jesus. So I was like, okay. So my interpretation of Jesus is that, yeah, he did have some power. All this whole walk on water and stuff, I don't know, is up for interpretation. It doesn't mean that it's some kind of event that happened there, but um, obviously it was like somebody that was very popular, obviously, and then got hijacked, but still he still has a lot of his own darkness, because they're putting his statue everywhere over the Catholic Church and all that. It's like that's some of his stuff, because I think he likes being worshipped. At least that's my interpretation of it. Well, apparently I knew him, which I don't go into that much detail of that, or I don't look at it that deep. Some people are just like that's their thing. They're Jesus bloodline, and they're a bunch of bad. I'm not interested in any of that. I don't care about. I mean, I don't know how much I knew him. I might have known him more than I thought. I told you how much I care. I mean, I've been told I'm like his brother or something like that. And I don't know. That could be. I told you how the family line is going. But if I had to give my interpretation of that time, I mean, it was like a womanizer. Well, obviously, I'm just picking up what I can get. You can take it for wherever you want. A womanizer easily. He's doing magic powers, and women are just throwing themselves at him. That's what I remember. And I remember him making a lot of stupid decisions, which walked him into. I believe I was part of that whole cross situation, that timeline, because it was just stupid. He just did just one thing led to another. He just walked right into it. And he just was not listening to anybody because he knows everything apparently. Especially have women throwing themselves at him. So, not to say there's not a good energy there somewhere, but obviously the Catholic Church took him over and weaponized them. Obviously, people are giving their power to him and all that. I think he likes that. So, not to say it's super bad, but he's got his darkness. So let's put it that way. But in this upcoming channeled book, there's I go into some of his darkness, like what's really bad. Not to complete detail, but because other people have seen him as dark also. I see him as dark too. A part of him. Everybody has their darkness somewhere. So obviously some are having it taken either way. It's not for everybody. Not just to make it look dark, it's just you kind of feel it. Especially out of the Catholic Church is depicting him all the time. It's like, he has some energy there. He's not been fully hijacked. There's something else there. So, somebody's here. Let's see if I can get it around. Yeah. There's Fritzy. I removed the cloth here, so maybe they'll like it more. So, yeah, the cloth's kind of pushing them away a little bit. They're just doing other stuff. See, she's got better things to do. So, yeah. Well, yeah. Still here. So, yeah, so Jesus energy is different ways to interpret it. Obviously, I mean, there's good there, but there's also going to be a lot of bad. And some people give their power away to it. And some people have that Jesus energy of healing abilities. So there's others that are obviously similar to him. And, I believe Mary Magdalene had that power, and also Mother Mary. I don't think Joseph did, the healing ability. So, and I'll write a channel text on it. In the future, a book on it. So of my interpretation of Jesus, and maybe I can get some other energies from him. But either way, it's controversial no matter what you do with it. So, but there's other people that are similar to that during that time. He was more popular. So anyway, and they add. I mean, you can say they added all that other stuff, all the mythology to him, walking on water, turning water into wine, and all of that. That was all done in Babylon and done with others. So, but there's been others that have healing abilities too. So it doesn't mean he did all that stuff, but who knows? I don't remember all of it. That's the only thing I'm not clear on, but it doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter. So it's all interpretation. If it helps you in your life, healing and all that, that's works great. So whatever works for you. But some obviously use it against people all the time. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going to go on with the church, if that's going to start falling apart one day. I mean, yeah, but then again, the spiritual community is getting corrupted by all that manipulation. So it's like, whatever. It's like, yeah, I love it. So it goes from one place to another. So, so Jesus consciousness, I don't really want to tap into that frequency. Yeah, I'm gonna kind of staying away from that. God consciousness, and at least publicly, I mean, I can do it privately, but publicly, I kind of stay away from all of that. And just because all the stuff connected to it. So, just because. So, I guess I can do a little bit of connection with him. I really don't feel like doing it, but because I think people are looking for that energy. I'm gonna stay away from it. Connect to the spirit realm. I'll do that instead. Get a spirit realm astral connection of that. Yeah, get more of their interpretation of it, if they even say interpretation, if they say anything, and then go into Archon energies and into Seraphim. So, and if maybe somebody else shows up. So, all right. Okay, here we go. Blessings. Greetings to you. We are the energies from spirit. Well, yes, it's up to you how far you want to go to heal yourself. Not everybody is ready to know more about themselves. Even if they do, their ego wants to know a lot, but is their soul ready? Because, yes, you can remove yourself from the physical. You can know one word, two words, and all of a sudden you're in the spirit world. So there are different types of healing. Some are still healing through abuse from previous lifetimes, being controlled by others. And that's what many are doing current healing. Some of you have been alien beings. You come to this world and been fought by every type of higher dimensional being you can get your hands on by being here. So many of you have majority of you have had incarnations here in the past. Some of you have been angel energies. And you're kind of remembering. You might not remember everything. Some of you have been angels. Some of you have been fallen angels and trapped here for some time ago. The Jesus consciousness is, yes, there's a lot of trickster energies connected to it. Basically, you have an energy. Now, yes, you can have it for interpretation, but basically, there's a being's. Yeah, it's an energy that has been hijacked from the very beginning. And it's up to you how you interpret that. And some are move away from the religious vibrations, but it is still an alien energy here. It's an energy source that still has to be healed. So it's up to human energies to how far you want to go with all of this. But also the religions have to be healed, of course. With some are having difficulty. I mean, obviously it's not just for one person, but basically all is channeling vibrations. This type of healing, higher vibrational outlook. Take it forever it is healing. The religious wounds on this planet, because the religions have ruled this earth for such a long time. And they do whatever they want, basically, those that control it. So we're just lifting that veil. It's not the easiest. And there are messages from Ashtar Command and the Galactic Federations that can be hijacked energies also, especially when they use Jesus in the title. So of course, is going to be that. Well, some souls are still... it shows that some have not quite healed the mind control on this planet. So there's multiple interpretations, but basically you come here to heal the religions of the earth and see what's the origins of those religions. And yes, it is galactic, and they don't always want to be seen. So obviously some of you get ahead of yourselves for healing practices, like you want to see what's here. sometimes you do see it in your mind, but then you might not think it's real because a lot of it's not human. So, and some of you do see Anunnaki beings that don't look human either. You're not always going to see a reptilian being running everything. It's not always them. Yes, they have a role here, but there's other beings that are. Well, basically, the alien beings that are manipulating your reality is beyond, not exactly beyond imagination, but they made themselves out to be undetectable, meaning that they're not in human. They are in human form to a certain level, but yeah, they're not. They don't look like you. so that's another reason why it's more difficult to heal the Earth's vibrations, because yes, you're seeing it's crazy when you see these type of vibrations and people shut down easily, because yeah, and the religions do have a healing factor within them. It's not all just a negative takeover. There is healing energies within it, but getting there is not easy. and there's a lot of interpretations that have been wrong throughout history. Of course, your King James Bible, obviously, there was a lot of add-ons to that, where it's not of the book of God. It's more like the book of, we want you to think like this. So if you go back to the text, which is not easy to find, the original text is completely different than what they interpret currently. Basically, many don't know what to think. And those that know what to think try to keep things as confusing and interpretations as mixed as possible. Because it keeps the confusion going. The chaos timeline. Even the Archon energies is connected to it. They want religions to be confusing, so they don't really evolve, grow. You're scared to move on. You're scared for many different reasons. You waste your incarnation here. You can feel like a stagnant vibration because you're afraid. So they want you afraid and not to move. So yeah, so if you're curious, and it might not be most attractive curiosity, I mean, if you feel like what your heart is leading you to, interpret the reality as you wish. It doesn't mean it has to be 100% correct, but as long as it feels like you're going in the right direction, basically coming out of the maze of control here. There's beings always talking to you, always, not just spirit guides. All kinds of beings are talking to you. It can become overwhelming. So. That's for the Jesus vibration. Is connected to it. Some of you have been Jesus beings yourselves. In other timelines, doesn't mean you go by that name, but some of you have been called that in other realities, yes. And that can make it more confusing. You might have been Jesus on another planet. That's when you're really confused. There's a million different interpretations of Jesus, basically. So this is. Greetings to you. Your the Archons, yes, are how we get involved with your planets. Well, it's a human element. There are a lot of Anunnaki beings that connected to our technology and our methods to use on your world. So think of like an Archon technology left on another planet and then brought to your world to manipulate it. It's not always Archons here to cause difficulty. Some are just curious. Some are angelic beings. But there are alien beings that know how to use the technologies that get into the mind, that shut you off from astral and put you part of the negative mindset that's here today. Because they don't want, the alien beings that are here don't want you to see them. So it's another reason, like, we found this planet too, so we can deactivate the human and be aliens here, and humans have no idea that we're here. Of course, until as many viewers start to open yourselves up. Obviously, there's a good and bad to it. Obviously, I mean, the good part is you realize there's other things going on here. The difficult part is you're not always seeing the full story of it. But they deactivated the human basically, so all these alien groups can live here without you getting in their way. That's another way of looking at it. Of course, they use the Archon energy to just siphon the vibrations take knowledge from you or to just suck off your vibrations. And to some level, not all beings do this. Some alien beings are lost, so they live through you. With you go shopping, you do this, you get yelled at or yelled at that person, whatever it is, aliens are learning from you. So a lot of them are not wanting for you to evolve because they don't want you to see what they've done here. How they mess with your timelines, your realities. And, not to say that Archon beings are, not to, you call it blame, whatever you want to. Yes, Archon energies have found ways of getting into the mind, into the DNA where other alien beings have failed. It's just the way Archon beings are, but Archons they don't always have the most emotion. I mean, they can connect to like someone laughing and just laugh forever. And it might be very annoying. Like that's how they talk to you, by laughing very bizarrely. That's one way. That's not for other. I mean, some are like annoyed archons, like all they are is annoyed because they pick up on your vibrations. So they find something they like and they continue with it. Some are like to complain, so just complaining about everything. I mean, in some ways it's kind of cute, but obviously when you're going through this, it's not so cute. Well, just to give you another perspective of how this all works. So, and some aren't here to cause menacing interpret. It just some beings are just completely clueless of what your world is going through. they're learning through you how because they're alien. They don't always understand what your world's going through. Obviously, some might disagree with that, but either way, blessings. Greetings to you. We got the Seraphim angels. We were there, yes, as humans were evolving. In the beginning side of just, yes, to take the challenge of being a human on a world where, yes, you don't remember anything, but you carry a lot of knowledge of the universe. So, meaning your emotions, your characteristics, even the way how you interpret things so differently than other beings. So you just have a lot going on in one vessel. You might not be fully aware of it, but you just have a lot. Aliens have like little pieces of what you are, and you have it all in one. So that's what makes your world so unique. So you can say you have like 1,000 different types of alien species characteristics and that's why things are so complicated here and how it's so hard to break free of all this. So it's just, and some alien energies are known to keep themselves disconnected from the fourth dimension. They're just in the third dimension all the time, and you have some of that element here. So basically, for a lot of higher vibrational beings incarnate here, they think they have it all figured out and high vibrations and all that, but then they end up causing more difficulties. And that sometimes they're sent here on purpose because they know they're going to fail. There's a great deal of that because there's so much positivity that it can give you answers where it ends up causing, like I say, more problems. It can help to a certain level, but it's not going to answer everything. There is an esoteric energy, basically a more balanced frequency. Many are not quite ready for it just yet. Some are. Well, basically, they let their ego go to the side. And some that are high vibrational beings, their ego is that it's too high. And they don't always realize that they can't even shut their ego off. They have high frequency, they have all this knowledge, and that's all they see. It's like you're on a high of yourself and you can't come down from it. So it's difficult for others to, people can connect to that frequency, but they can also be misguided by it. So, well, they do it too. They copy. So you have these high vibrational beings that aren't really going anywhere. You kind of get stuck. So you come back to the earth, basically, and because a lot of, yes, basically finding some kind of balance where you can see the darkness, the light, and heal yourself. Because you're in a higher frequency on this world doesn't mean that you're healing yourself. Because you don't always see your problems, your shadow. If you're here, your shadow is there. How do you see that? You don't. And so that's why it's hard to heal something when you're so far removed from it. So healing the shadow is high vibrational beings. That's why they do drugs. Some just don't want to see it. But the shadow, not everybody has to do shadow work. You're kind of doing it automatically. You're not even aware of it by just living your life. And so it doesn't always have to be completely clear to you. I mean, just by everyday work, why you're at this certain job, why are you doing this, why you're connected to those people, a lot of that is shadow work itself. Why you're dealing with difficult people, it is shadow work. Like friends is what we're getting at, or family members can be difficult. That's a form of shadow work. Basically, dealing with it, it doesn't mean you have to have the best relationship with it. It's just, it runs its course because everything has a contract with it. But it's up to you how you interpret your life. Basically, many are still having trouble with self-love. They feel like they love themselves, but they have a distorted view of that. The Jesus energy is here. Some put a lot of hope into that frequency as the savior. And that's where the biggest hijacking is. You can look at the mythology all you want, and there's good energies there, depending on how you look at it. But the savior energy is probably the biggest trickster of them all, because that's not what he was there for. So that shows you how the Catholic Church and those involved with it, well, because they want you to look at, instead of saving yourself, you're waiting someone to save you. So that's the biggest con of them all. And it's interpreted even in your churches, not all of them, but some of them. And that's all. And some of that's done innocently, and other times it's done. Of course, interpretation to say that the Bible has been completed, not really. But then again, there's always been Armageddons, which are another word for reset. That's happened throughout history, though. But this world is not coming to an end. Far from it. You still have much to discover about itself. But some of you have been part of worlds where those world cycles did end. Those other realities. But that doesn't mean that's this one, though.